What's going on, everyone? This is Chris bringing you a thoughts and feelings on Bloodborne. I've actually been getting a lot of people inquiring to me what my thoughts are on the game and if it's the best Souls-like game out and about right now. Short answer, yes, at least in my opinion. But let me dive a little deeper into that. To kind of start off with, the gameplay is very fast-paced. Going back and actually recently playing, what's it called? Scholar of the First Sin that just came out for PC and PS4 and Xbox One. A subscriber actually donated that game to me, which I was very thankful for. Going back to Dark Souls or Dark Souls 2 or even Demon Souls, it feels so slow and sluggish in comparison to Bloodborne. Bloodborne is so fast-paced and fun and very challenging too. I would have to say that this is probably the most challenging Souls-like game I've personally played. Due to not, and it's funny because most of my Souls builds have always been no shield, but there's something about the way, I should say, how quick the enemies are and how fast the AI reacts to your movements and your attacks. It makes it a very challenging game in comparison to the other Souls games. And while there may be a few hitbox issues here and there, very minor, the game, in my opinion, is the absolute best Souls game, at least in my opinion. Again, this is strictly just my opinion. Everyone knows that, or anyone who has subscribed to this channel or knows me personally knows that Dark Souls and Demon Souls are my two favorite games of all time, but this one actually has replaced those. And I'm not just saying that because, you know, the game is brand new. I've got something like 75 hours on my first character, who I'm actually right now going through the Chalice dungeons and having an incredible blast, which I'll get further into that here in a moment. In terms of graphics, the visual fidelity of the game is absolutely spectacular. Now, all of the models are very high polygon. They've got very good texture fidelity going on, and it has an absolutely incredible atmosphere, at least visually and sound-wise too, but I'll get into that here in a few moments. My only criticisms on the visuals is, one, the game does run at 30 frames per second, and there are a few frames, few frame dips here and there. And there also seems to be, it's very rare, but there seems to be some micro stutter here and there when you're going from different location to different location. Sometimes you'll get a little bit of micro stutter just for a split second, and then it's perfect again. But it is something to be noted. In terms of sound, the game sounds amazing. This is the best sounding Souls game, period. Very high fidelity, great dynamic range, great bass foundation, tons of low bass for just simple ambient effects. It's an amazing sounding game, and it has, I can't emphasize enough how much atmosphere it adds. As you walk around the city of Yharnam, you'll hear people transforming into werewolves off in the distance. You'll be hearing just incredible things going on while you're just running around killing mobs of enemies. In terms of replay value, though, it's interesting because it's a little hit and miss. While the game has borderline infinite replay value due to the Chalice dungeons and how many different levels there are, and may I add, the Chalice dungeons can get very challenging, especially when you get up to the high depths of 4 and 5, at least currently where I'm at right now. It can get very challenging. I have a level 95 character right now, and doing a depth 4, depth 5 Chalice dungeon is very challenging, and in my opinion, some areas actually is harder than the main game, just due to how many traps there are, and there's Bell Maidens who infinitely spawn enemies until you kill her. There is so many amazing things about the Chalice dungeon, and the simple fact is that the root Chalice dungeons are randomly generated, so you'll find random loot, and I mean good loot too. You'll find custom weapons, you'll find different armors, just tons of stuff. My only criticism on the replay value is the lack of weapons. Now, currently, I have only discovered 15 weapons, and that may sound like a lot to most people, and since the weapons do transform, it is kind of like having two weapons in one. but it seems like a lot of people seem to stick, at least in terms of PvP and co-op, a lot of people seem to stick with about the same 4 or 5 weapons. And that is it is a little discouraging for replay value, because you're going to be consistently using the same weapons over and over and over again. And I do feel that they made the minor mistake, the same thing that I feel on Dark Souls 2 that they did, is that you have some of the best weapons are placed at the end of the game. While as in games like Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1, you could easily find some of the best weapons in the entire game either right at the very beginning, or by the time you get to Anor Londo, you could craft almost any weapon you wanted by the time you reach that area. So it offered tons of replay value to go back and try out different weapons and different boss soul weapons, and it was such an amazing concept. And while this game does kind of carry that a little bit, some of the best stuff in the game that I've kind of came across is towards the end of the game, or even requires the final boss soul. Or I should say, when you kill a boss, you don't actually get their soul, you get a badge. It requires a specific badge to be able to purchase a weapon that's associated with that boss. And the final boss actually has a very well-loved weapon, but you won't be using that weapon unless you get a specific ending. I don't want to spoil anything, but it requires you to get a specific ending so you can actually, after killing that boss, go purchase that weapon before you travel into New Game Plus. So the only thing I actually kind of hope for is there is some form of DLC that they're going to add on to the game to give it a little more variation in the weapons, at least towards the beginning or middle of the game. Game length is very good. The game is very long. I'd say it's a little bit longer than the original Dark Souls, and offers tons of hidden secrets and is absolutely amazing. So do I recommend Bloodborne? Yes, I do. Do I recommend purchasing a PS4 so you can purchase Bloodborne? In my opinion, yes, but that is the fanboy in me speaking. So I would actually recommend trying the game out first. If you're any form of a fan of the Souls games, then I'm 99% sure you're going to love this game as much as I do. And as of right now, I've got like 75 or 80 hours on the game already, and I can easily see myself putting another couple hundred hours into this game, minimum. So it's absolutely amazing. The PvP scene is still going very good right now. I know it's only a week. It's only been going for about a week, but it's still going very, very good. I've done tons of invasions, tons of co-op, and overall the game's absolutely amazing. There's a lot more I could discuss about, but I would end up basically going into spoiler territory, and I really don't want to do that. So anyways, thank you for watching, and see you guys later.